Tonight, we're hearing from an attorney filing a lawsuit against Ballad Health and two former employees of Bristol Regional Medical Center after an incident with a patient in 2020.
Greg Neal was the former CEO of the Bristol Regional Medical Center. He resigned after violating patient protection policies. The health system said Neal, who's not a doctor, scrubbed in for a surgery and performed the initial incision under the doctor, Nathan Smith, who was fired following the incident.
Sullivan County's District Attorney General even requested the State Board of Medical Examiners look into that incident.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel found out the attorney amended the lawsuit in response to Ballad and Neal and Smith's motions to dismiss.
That's right, Josh and Sarah. General Barry Staubus told me that his request for the state board to look into what happened in the operating room on August 14th of 2020 was ignored not once but twice. The original lawsuit against Ballad, the former CEO and surgeon, was filed on July 30th of 2021 with two separate issues, one of those being medical malpractice and the other being civil tort battery. Now, the attorney for the patient in that room says that they're amending the complaint to be simple assault with a deadly weapon.
Medical malpractice can only be filed against the doctors. Right? So we were in this conundrum where we've got one really cause of action that's battery, and the second cause of action that is covered primarily by the statutes, which is medical malpractice.
When Greg Neal resigned as the CEO of Bristol Regional Medical Center for scrubbing in on a procedure and performing the initial incision, the doctor, Nathan Smith, who asked him to do it and handed him the scalpel, was also fired.
The defense's theory that we had to comply with the medical malpractice statute. We basically had to sue him for medical malpractice even though he's not a health care provider. Our theory is completely different. We're saying no, he actually committed crimes.
Now, attorneys for Ballad Health, Neal and Dr. Smith have asked that the case be dismissed.
We are alleging that he committed assault in our amended complaint in the fact that there were tools used or a scalpel that was used. We allege that could be a deadly weapon.
Back in August of 2020, the Sullivan County District Attorney General wrote a letter to the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners asking them to look into what happened.
Basically because there's a statute that authorizes it, and because the unique nature of this is a medical matter, it's not a typical law enforcement question. And the statute basically says that I can direct them and request them to do the investigation of a medical related matter, and I felt that this felt right into their jurisdiction.
He wrote another letter in January of 2021 and has yet to receive a response.
Only because it was involving a situation with a doctor and then a non-medical person involved in a surgery where there was an incision. There was allegations that it could be criminal, there were allegations it might be a civil matter, or it could be administrative. And because I'm not an expert in the medical field, because it was a unique circumstance, and because the statute existed, I thought this would be the proper avenue to go.
So this would create potentially an entirely separate case and issue?
It could if the facts supported it. And you know, they could give the recommendations, and I may or may not follow the recommendations, and I may submit it to the grand jury, and they may or may not follow the recommendations either. But I would like to have at least had those to consider to determine. But without a response, I was basically left where I'm at today.
We reached out to the Department of Health about the status of the district attorney's request, and we are also still waiting on a response. Ballad Health and the attorneys for Greg Neal and Dr. Nathan Smith have declined to comment on this since it is still pending litigation.